Hello everyone, and thank you for being here today. The theme for today's class is how to use the power of grace in our personal meditation practice. So what is grace? Suzanne mentioned that grace is the power that is inherent in everything we see, in everything we touch, in everything that is present at the level of reality that we know, but also at a higher level that we cannot perceive with our own senses. She mentioned this with the word Paramashiva in her talk that we heard earlier on. So there are two ways that grace is portrayed traditionally. One, in the Sanskrit language, is used in the word kripa. Kripa. Kripa means grace in the sense of a masculine and father-like hue, like a compassionate grace of a father towards his own son or daughter. And then there is another term that is used in the Sanskrit language, which is Anugraha. Anugraha has more the flavor of the love that a mother has towards her child. So it is the power of grace that is both masculine and feminine, is more compassionate or more intimate. So when we talk about grace, we're actually talking about the affirmative, transformative power of divine goodness, by which all is created, all is maintained, and all is dissolved from moment to moment. So, in the scriptures, both in the yogic scriptures as well as in the tantric scriptures, traditionally we experience, we awaken the power of love, of divine love inside ourselves by two main means. The first means is a spiritual teacher. So by the grace of a spiritual teacher, by his look, by his touch, by his presence, by his mantra, we can receive the power to see and perceive divine grace and eventually awaken it in our lives. So the first tool is a spiritual master who has experienced and realized the power of grace in his own life and has made grace the fundamental reality of his own experience. But there is a second tool also that through which we can experience grace, which is actually the power of God himself. So it is through the compassionate touch of God within us. The Bhakti Sutras, the Narada's text that we are using for this training, for this course, says, this is exactly verse 38. Indeed, it is primarily through the compassionate grace of a great one, or through a portion of the compassionate grace of God, that we experience divine love inside ourselves. And then it goes on to say, although companionship of a great one is difficult to attain, it is unfathomable and it is unfailing. It is only through grace that this companionship is gained. That alone is to be cultivated. That alone is to be cultivated. When it says that alone is to be cultivated, it refers to the power of grace itself. So we need to cultivate the presence of grace in our own life as much as we can. So when we talk about the grace of the Guru, we are not talking so much about the grace of a physical Guru, the beautiful and sweet and tender presence of the physical Guru in our own life that illumines not only our life but the lives of so many around us. But we are talking about mainly the grace of our own inner self that we feel, that we perceive as the inner Guru inside of us. So in the following meditation, we are going to evoke the presence of the Guru, of the inner Guru inside of us, specifically inside our own inner hearts. And we are going to do it through two means. One is the practice of meditation. The second tool is through prayer. So specifically, we will be using a very traditional prayer that invokes the power of kripa, the tenderness of the love of a father for us. So the Guru as the father inside of us. So this mantra is very, very traditional, it's very beautiful. So before we chant, please take a comfortable seated posture so that you can chant with the full power of your breath. So you want to have a very rooted posture, so you can use any props you like to do that. You want to stay seated upright, so you want to extend your spine thoroughly and release any tension from your throat. So you can soften your mouth, you can soften the space inside your mouth. You can feel your tongue, and specifically the portion of your tongue that is connected with your throat. And very, very gently you want to start softening there. Every time you breathe out, you feel that the upper palate, the space inside your mouth and your tongue, they are all relaxing. So take the time to really feel your upper palate, the space inside your mouth, and your tongue fully relaxing. And then when you chant this mantra, do it with the intention to really get in touch with the energy that has always supported your life, which we have called grace. So if you look back to your life, you can see that at every turn of your life, in every moment in which you had a challenge or you had to go through something transformative, there was an energy, there was a supportive energy for yourself that has never really left you, that is always there, and that you can actively use for meditation. So close your eyes, gently go back to your breath, breathe in and out very naturally a few times. Without trying to force your breath in, but actually having the feeling that your whole body is receiving your breath, that the breath itself is a form of that grace. And every time you inhale, you feel that the power of grace in the form of the oxygen, in the form of the air, is coming in. And every time you exhale, you soften into this awareness. So these mantras sound like this. Om Nirananjaya Vitmahe Nirvikalpaya Dhimahi Tanna Satguru Prachodayat. Om Nirananjaya Vitmahe Nirvikalpaya Dhimahi Tanna Satguru Prachodayat. At the very end of every line, you want to breathe in. So, Om Nirananjaya Vitmahe, you breathe in. Nirvikalpaya Dhimahi, you breathe in again. Tanna Sadguru Prachodayat, you breathe in again. So, if for some reason you don't feel comfortable with chanting, you can just listen to them while I chant. Om Nirananjaya Vitmahe Nirvikalpaya Dhimahi Tanna Satguru Prachodayat. Om Nirananjaya Vitmahe Nirvikalpaya Dhimahi Tanna Satguru Prachodayat. Om Nirananjaya Vitmahe Nirvikalpaya Dhimahi Tanna Satguru Prachodayat. Om. Just keep your eyes closed for a few breaths and just feel the vibration of the mantra inside yourselves. simply repeat to yourself that there is no other place where you want to be right now, and that this is the time for yourself, this is the time for your practice. So even if the mind is drifting away, just tell yourself, this is the time for me. This is the time for my own practice. So you can place your hands gently on your thighs and keep your eyes gently closed. So when you close your eyes, you want this action to be very soft. You are not forcing your gaze within. You're simply following the need you have to be with yourself. And you do it by softening your eyes. And then soften the center of your head, the space behind your head. Soften your upper palate and the space inside your mouth once again. You can soften your throat, your collarbones. And feeling that there is a connection between the front of the body and the back of the body. So the front of the body wants to move gently towards the back of the body and soften there. So when you soften your throat and your collarbones, you're doing this with the intention to merge into the back of the body, the root of your neck. And same with your sternum bone. You soften it against the spine. And then the space behind your breastbone. You gently soften that too. Then you soften your diaphragm area. You feel that even there, around the area of your kidneys, there is a refuge, there is a place where you can relax. Soften your belly, your pelvis, your hip bones, and your pelvic floor. So depending on the time of the day or depending on our inner state or our emotional state, we can perceive the power of grace in different areas of our own physical body. We can feel it more in the pelvic area, where we look for stability, rootedness, a more earthy feeling of being held by something steady. So maybe if we come from a very long day and very hectic day, we want to rest in the feeling of being held by grace in the pelvis. So now bring your attention there at the level of your pelvis. And just exhale a few times. Just feel your sitting bones digging down. And when you inhale, just have the feeling that you are actually finding residence there for a few moments. And explore this feeling of being held by a sense of stability. This is what I call the power of grace in the pelvis. So, for a few breaths, just explore this area, this place. And perceive if this is where you want to stay throughout the practice. And then gently shift your focus just behind the sternum bone, very close to your back body. And simply breathe there for a few breaths. Inhaling into the space that we call the space of the inner heart, which is the seat of compassion, wisdom, love, where the scriptures say is one of the strongest places in the body where you can find connection with your inner teacher. So when you breathe there, oftentimes you feel the embrace of a mother-like grace. You feel that you are held into a much wider, expansive awareness of love in the body than of what you felt in the pelvis. Pelvis was more rootedness, stability. Here is more openness, expansion. There is more movement here. So explore here and feel if this is the place where you want to be in your practice now. And with every exhalation, have the feeling that you're taking refuge here as well for a few breaths. And then shift your focus more at the level of your head, just behind your eyes, at the very center of your head. And just rest there with your gaze. This is a place of pure awareness, is the sense of I am, of pure being. Is where you want to be if the mind has been really, really fast and moving throughout the day. So with every exhalation, you let your breath move out through your eyes. With every inhalation, you inhale your breath right there at the very center of your head, without trying to control too much, but simply giving yourself a sense of being with yourself, being in a space of pure existence. And now choose where you want to practice, either in the pelvis, in the heart, or in the head, for a few more moments. So which one of these three gates of awareness you want to develop in this practice? And simply bring your focus there. It's a gentle focus. It's not about forcing. It's more about feeling. So you place your focus there and you gently allow that spot to receive the breath. In the inhalation and in the exhalation. With every inhalation, you stabilize yourself in that specific spot, either it be pelvis, heart, or head. With every exhalation, you soften there. You let yourself be held by that quality of grace. In this way, you are awakening it for yourself. You're letting that company be your companion for the practice. So meditate in silence in this way for a couple of minutes. Now exhale very gently and inhale with a deep inhalation. Just do this for a couple of more times, just to bring your awareness back to the physical body. And when you open your eyes again to the world around you, do it with the feeling of being connected with that specific spot in the body where you experienced grace, either it be pelvis, heart, or head. And look to the world, keeping the awareness there. This practice of bringing the feeling of being graced by this power, even while you're looking outside, is very powerful. It keeps a connection with that divine love inside yourselves. And in this way, your inner world and your outer world start to merge. And when you live your life in the world, you know you can always go back to the experience of being held by grace all the time. Namaste.